Blackhead prevention usually works best when it is calm, repetitive, and gentle rather than dramatic, harsh, or constantly changing. Blackheads form when pores become clogged with oil and dead skin cells, while the opening of the pore stays open, allowing the material inside to darken when it is exposed to air. So the goal is not to scrub the skin into submission, but to keep the pores clearer over time, while protecting the skin barrier. A simple routine is often the strongest foundation. Cleanse the face gently in the morning and again at night with a mild cleanser and lukewarm water, then pat the skin dry instead of rubbing it. Very hot water, rough washcloths, aggressive scrubs, and repeated cleansing through the day can irritate the skin and sometimes make the face feel more inflamed, tight, or reactive. So gentleness is not weakness here, it is strategy. Try to avoid touching the face frequently with your hands, resting your chin on your palm, or letting oil, sweat, and friction build up from things like phone screens, tight hats, helmet straps, pillowcases, and hair products around the forehead and temples. If you exercise, sweat heavily, or spend a long day in heat, it helps to wash or at least rinse the face gently afterward, because sweat mixed with oil and occlusion can leave pores feeling congested. When choosing products, lighter formulas are often easier for blackhead-prone skin to tolerate, so it is helpful to look for labels such as non-comedogenic, oil-free, or water-based when possible. This does not apply only to moisturizer and sunscreen. It also matters for makeup, primer, foundation, concealer, and hair products that may slide onto the skin during the day. Makeup should be removed fully before sleep. Thick, oily pomades and greasy leave-in products can contribute to congestion along the hairline, so keeping those away from the face can make a real difference. Sunscreen is still important even for acne-prone skin. Some people think sunlight will dry the skin out and solve the problem, but unprotected sun can worsen irritation and discoloration and can complicate healing. So a non-comedogenic broad-spectrum sunscreen is often the smarter daily choice. Many people with oily or acne-prone skin are afraid of moisturizer, but skipping moisturizer entirely is not always helpful. Skin that becomes too dry and irritated often tolerates treatment poorly, and once the routine becomes uncomfortable, people stop using it consistently. A lightweight, non-comedogenic moisturizer can help support the barrier and make the whole routine easier to sustain. For over-the-counter actives, salicylic acid can help loosen the buildup inside pores, and adapalene can help keep pores from becoming clogged over time. But the key is to start slowly and not chase fast results with heavy application. A thin layer used consistently is usually better than too much product applied too often. If a treatment causes burning, significant peeling, or a feeling that the skin is constantly raw, it usually makes sense to reduce frequency, simplify the routine, and let the skin settle. Blackhead prevention also means resisting the urge to squeeze, scrape, or dig at the skin with fingernails or tools at home, because that can lead to redness, broken skin, irritation, dark marks, and sometimes scarring. Consistency matters more than force. A practical routine can be very straightforward. Morning cleanse, light moisturizer, sunscreen. Evening cleanse, treatment if tolerated, moisturizer. Give it time. Skin often responds gradually over weeks rather than dramatically in a few days. It also helps to notice daily patterns. Some people find that sweaty clothing left on too long, heavy occlusive products, frequent product hopping, poor sleep, or stress make flare-ups more likely. There is no perfect universal routine for every face, but there is usually a better result when the routine is simple enough to repeat without dread. If blackheads are widespread, stubborn, mixed with painful, inflamed acne, or leaving marks, professional care can be worthwhile, but for many people the basics still carry most of the weight. Gentle, cleansing, sensible products, patience, and not declaring war on the mirror. And once that sensible little routine is in place, with a mild cleanser doing its quiet work and a lightweight moisturizer minding its own business on the bathroom shelf, it is far more pleasant to imagine a very different problem entirely, one involving 5 older Americans, 1 church bus, a hotel conference center in Missouri, and the kind of administrative misunderstanding that can only happen when someone creates 2 nearly identical event names and assumes the universe will respect office planning. At Silver Pines Residences, a brick senior apartment complex on the edge of Street, Charles, Missouri, the monthly outing committee was treated with more seriousness than certain branches of government. People might forgive a weak coffee hour or a disappointing tuna casserole, but they did not forgive a poorly planned bus trip. The committee itself consisted of Marlene Bishop, a retired motor vehicle clerk with the posture of a stapler and the patience of none; Otis Kerr, retired owner of a bait shop who wore suspenders like a man who had won the right to them; Dee Franklin, former choir director, owner of 6 dramatic hats, and a voice that had once straightened a church balcony from 40 feet away; Norman Pike, retired accountant, weather radio enthusiast, and carrier of cinnamon hard candy in pockets of uncertain age; and Ruth Ellen Cho, a widowed pharmacist, with the calm expression of someone who had already answered every foolish question possible and expected several more before lunch. The outing for that month had been advertised for weeks on the bulletin board near the mailboxes: Riverside lunch and lazy boat tour, Tuesday 10 a.m. Sign up with Marlene. No last-minute shoes. The phrase about shoes had confused the newer residents but comforted the veterans, because it told them Marlene was in charge and standards still existed. By 8:30 on Tuesday morning, the lobby hummed with excursion energy. Men adjusted belts and ball caps. Women compared cardigans, earrings, and whether a river breeze justified an extra layer. Someone had brought travel tissues. Someone else had brought crackers, just in case lunch on the boat turns out to be conceptual. Otis declared the whole riverboat business suspicious on principle. A restaurant that also floats is showing off, he said. Dee replied, "That is exactly why I approved it." Marlene stood by the door with a clipboard and a pen clipped so sharply to her blouse that it looked like a warning. "If your name is not on my list, you are not discovering the river today," she announced. Norman checked his watch. Ruth handed out peppermint gum to anyone who looked uncertain. At 9:52, the bus arrived. It was one of those beige charter buses that always seem to have recently transported a middle school choir or a football team or a mystery convention. The driver, whose polo shirt said Terry, leaned out the window and shouted, "Silver Group for Willow Bend?" Marlene, who had spent 30 years in administrative combat, heard enough nouns to proceed. "That's us," she said. And with that one sentence, history took a wrong exit. The actual reservation, as later discovered, was for Willow Bend River Lodge. The bus, however, had been sent by contract to Willow Bend Conference Center, a separate property 3 miles away, where a regional office management company was hosting an all-day executive retreat called the Silver Peak Leadership Summit. The names were similar enough to flatter a mistake and different enough to ruin a schedule. Terry drove confidently. The residents of Silver Pines settled in. Dee passed around buttermints. Otis commented on lawn care visible from the highway. Norman gave periodic weather updates no one had requested. Marlene reviewed the lunch vouchers in her purse and felt the deep satisfaction known only to organized people traveling with numbered paper. After 35 minutes, the bus pulled up under a broad porte cochere, attached not to a quaint river lodge, but to a gleaming modern hotel conference complex with flags, stone planters, and a banner reading "Welcome, Silver Peak Leadership Partners." Dee looked up at it and said, "Well, that seems ambitious." Marlene frowned. "This does not resemble my brochure." Otis squinted. "Too much glass. Nobody serves catfish behind that much glass." Before anyone could fully object, 2 smiling hotel staffers in navy blazers hurried forward carrying clipboards and bottled water. "Welcome," one of them said brightly. "We are so excited you're here." Marlene, who instinctively distrusted people excited before 10:30, replied, "Excited for what?" The woman laughed as though Marlene had made a clever executive joke. "For the summit, of course." She turned to a young man with a lanyard. "They're here. The silver guests are here." This was all the encouragement chaos needed. The residents were ushered off the bus, each handed a name badge, and guided toward the ballroom foyer before reason could catch up. Otis read his badge. It said, "Vision Partner." "I have never in my life been a vision partner," he muttered. "Closest I came was selling worms by the dozen." Dee adjusted her hat and looked delighted. "I don't know what this is, but the carpet is expensive." Marlene tried 3 times to explain there had been a mistake, but each attempt was mistaken for a dry sense of humor by event staff who had clearly been trained to interpret confusion as leadership style. "Love the energy," one said. "So authentic." "Nothing authentic ever begins with a tote bag," Otis replied, because a volunteer had just pressed one into his hand. Inside were a notebook, a branded pen, 2 granola bars, and a brochure titled "Lead with Clarity in a Noisy World." Norman opened the brochure and said, "Page 2 has 3 pie charts, and none of them mention pie. That is dishonest." Ruth took in the scene with professional serenity. "At minimum," she said, "they appear to have coffee." This observation changed the mood immediately, because a group of older Americans can withstand many things if caffeine is accessible and seating is nearby. In the ballroom foyer stood 2 enormous silver urns of coffee, an arrangement of pastries, and a bowl of fruit nobody truly wanted. There were also perhaps 80 corporate managers from a company called Mid-States Workflow Solutions, all wearing business casual and the strained optimism of people who had been told an all-day retreat would be engaging. Several of them looked toward the Silver Pines group with curiosity and, to Marlene's growing alarm, respect. "Why are they looking at us like that?" whispered Norman. A young woman in a headset hurried over. "Miss Bishop, we're thrilled your team could join us," she said. Marlene blinked. "My team? Your keynote panel?" the woman said, smiling. "Silver Peak Advisory? We've heard wonderful things." Otis let out a slow whistle. Dee gripped Marlene's elbow. "Do not correct her until after coffee," she whispered. "We can make decisions with pastry." Under normal conditions, Marlene would have corrected the error instantly and with punctuation. But she had already been up since 6. 2 people on the bus had argued about window glare, and there on the linen-covered table sat a tray of small ham biscuits that looked better than many truths. "Fine," she said tightly. We will sit down and assess. They sat. They drank coffee. They ate pastries. They watched the managers cluster into polite little islands of networking discomfort. On stage, a massive screen displayed the summit slogan, "Better systems, better people, better tomorrow." Otis read it twice. "Too many betters," he said. "Makes me nervous." The opening speaker was a consultant with energetic hair and a wireless microphone named Trevor, who welcomed everyone to a day of synergy, alignment, and actionable frameworks. By the third use of the word actionable, Dee had taken off one earring and put it back on solely to remain occupied. Norman wrote in the summit notebook, "Why is everyone standing when chairs exist?" Ruth nodded as if Trevor were explaining side effects from a medication she would never stock. Marlene sat with her lips pressed into an administrative line so straight it ought to have been measured. Then Trevor said the sentence that changed everything. "And now," he announced, "we are honored to begin with our special Silver Peak panel, a group known for practical wisdom, cross-generational perspective, and deep operational experience." The ballroom applauded. 80 heads turned. The 5 residents of Silver Pines froze like people caught in a church raffle they did not enter. "Oh no," Marlene said. "Oh yes," whispered Dee, suddenly radiant. "This is the best thing that has happened since Carol forgot the dessert forks at Easter." The event coordinator in the headset was already approaching. "Right this way," she said. "Just 15 minutes of candid insights on what organizations need most." Otis leaned toward Marlene. "You can still tell them the truth." Marlene looked at the room full of tired managers, at the stage steps, at Trevor's glowing confidence, and then at the coffee she had barely finished. Something old and mischievous stirred in her, something buried under decades of forms, waiting rooms, and people who arrived at the counter without the correct documents, yet expected miracles. "No," she said, rising with the solemn force of a woman about to weaponize common sense.